Life is short. You don't have forever. Every second you spend worrying about yesterday is a second stolen from your destiny. Every moment you waste doubting yourself is a moment you could have used to build something greater. This life, this one precious life, isn't a rehearsal. It's happening now, right here, right now. You have a choice to live passively or to live with purpose, to sit on the sidelines or step onto the field, to exist or to truly live. Most people don't live. They wait. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait for a sign. They wait for validation. And while they wait, life keeps moving. The days turn into weeks, the weeks into months, and before they know it, years have passed, and they're left wondering where it all went. But listen to me. God didn't put you on this earth to wait. He put you here to move, to take action, to walk in faith, not in fear. To wake up every day with fire in your soul, knowing you're here for a reason. You see, when you live for God, everything changes. Your vision sharpens. Your purpose becomes clear. You stop chasing meaningless things and start chasing what truly matters. You stop living for approval and start living for impact. Because when your life is aligned with God's plan, you stop existing and start thriving. But here's the truth. Most people don't thrive because they let fear control them. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. But fear is a liar. It steals your dreams, blinds your vision, and keeps you stuck in the same place. You weren't created to live small. You weren't designed to be average. God put greatness inside you. He gave you the power to rise, to conquer, to push beyond your limits. But you have to make the choice to step up. If you're breathing, your mission isn't over. If you're still here, there's work to do. Stop playing small. Stop procrastinating on your calling. Start living. Every single day is a gift, an opportunity to become who God created you to be. Don't waste it on fear. Don't waste it on distractions. Don't waste it on regret. Live boldly. Love fiercely. Chase your purpose with everything inside you, because one day your time will be up. One day you'll take your last breath. And when that day comes, don't let there be a single drop of potential left inside you. Give it all, every talent, every dream, every ounce of passion. Pour it out into the world. Leave nothing behind, because life is short, and God has called you to live it to the fullest. Time is slipping away. Every second that passes is one you will never get back. Most people live as if they have forever, pushing their dreams, their goals, and their purpose into some distant future that never arrives. They tell themselves, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll start next week, or one day I'll get around to it. But one day turns into someday, and someday turns into never. Think about it. How many moments have you let slip through your fingers because you thought you had more time? How many opportunities have you passed up because you believed there would always be another chance? The truth is, we don't know how much time we have. Life is unpredictable. We assume we'll wake up tomorrow, that we'll have next week, next month, next year. But there are no guarantees. There was a man who spent his whole life waiting for the right time. He wanted to start his own business, but he kept telling himself he needed to save more money first. He wanted to travel the world, but he was always too busy. He wanted to tell the people he loved how much they meant to him, but he thought they already knew. Then one day he got sick, really sick. And suddenly he didn't have years, he didn't have months, he had weeks. He looked back at his life and realized he had wasted so much time waiting for the perfect moment. A moment that never came. That man could be any of us. We live as if we are immortal, as if we can afford to waste days scrolling through our phones, complaining about life, making excuses instead of making moves. But every second wasted is a second stolen from your destiny. Every day you procrastinate is a day you'll never get back. If you knew you had 1 year left to live, would you still be playing small? Would you still be afraid to take risks? Or would you live with fire, passion, and urgency? You have dreams inside you that are waiting to be unleashed. There are books that need to be written, businesses that need to be built, people that need to be helped, ideas that need to be shared. But if you don't act now, they may never see the light of day. The world is full of unrealized potential, dreams buried in graveyards, ideas never spoken, goals never pursued. Think about the people you admire, the greats, the legends, the ones who changed the world. Do you think they waited for the right time? No. They understood the urgency of now. They knew that time is a gift, and the only way to honor it is to use it wisely. Take a moment and reflect on your own life. What are you postponing? What excuses are you making? What are you afraid of? Because whatever it is, I promise you, it's not bigger than your purpose. There was once a woman who had a passion for music. She dreamed of becoming a singer, of standing on a stage and sharing her voice with the world. But every time she thought about pursuing her dream, fear crept in. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? So she pushed her dream aside, telling herself she'd go after it when she felt ready. Years passed. She got a job she didn't love, settled into a routine, and convinced herself that maybe her dream wasn't meant to be. Then one day she met an old friend, a friend who had pursued his passion fearlessly. He had started from nothing, but because he took action, he was now living the life she had only imagined. She looked at him and realized something. He wasn't any more talented than she was. The only difference was that he had taken the leap while she had waited. And in that moment, she understood time had stolen her dream, not because she wasn't capable, but because she had hesitated. Hesitation is the enemy of progress. Indecision is the thief of dreams. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. Maybe you're thinking, I'm too young, or I'm too old. Listen to me, there is no perfect time. The perfect time is now. The moment you decide to act, your life begins to change. There's a reason you feel that pull inside you, that nagging voice telling you there's more for you. It's because you were meant for something greater. But that greatness won't be realized by waiting. It won't be achieved by overthinking. It will only happen when you take action. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. If you continue living exactly the way you are today, will you be proud of the person you've become? Or will you be filled with regret, wishing you had been bolder, more fearless, more intentional? You don't have forever. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for life to hand you an opportunity. Create it. Take the first step, even if you're scared. Move forward, even if you don't have it all figured out. Because the truth is, none of us do. But those who succeed are the ones who take action despite the uncertainty. Your time is now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because one day you'll wake up and there won't be any more time left to do the things you always wanted to do. And on that day, you'll either be grateful you lived with urgency, or you'll be filled with regret that you let time slip away. Don't let that be your story. Make today count. You were not created to just exist. You were not placed on this earth to wake up, go through the motions, and then do it all over again without meaning, without direction, without fire in your soul. You were made for something greater. You were designed with purpose, with intention, with a divine assignment that only you can fulfill. Yet so many people drift through life like a ship lost at sea. No direction, no anchor, just floating wherever the waves take them. And they wonder why they feel empty. They wonder why, even after achieving success, something still feels missing. It's because success without purpose is just an illusion of fulfillment. It doesn't matter how much money you make, how many followers you have, how much recognition you receive. If you are not walking in alignment with God's purpose for your life, you will always feel like something is missing. Look around you. The world is full of people chasing things that will never truly satisfy them. They chase wealth, thinking it will bring them peace. They chase approval, thinking it will bring them happiness. They chase comfort, thinking it will bring them security. But none of these things can fill the void that only God's purpose can. You see, God didn't create you to live a life of constant wandering. He created you to live with intention, with passion, with impact. There is a reason you have that dream inside you. There is a reason you feel that pull towards something greater. That's not random. That's not coincidence. That is God calling you to step into the life He designed for you. But the question is, are you listening? Or are you too distracted? Are you too caught up in comparison and fear and excuses? Because that's what keeps most people from fulfilling their purpose. They let the world's noise drown out God's voice. They let fear convince them that they are not enough. They let self-doubt keep them stuck in a life they were never meant to settle for. But settling is not your destiny. You were not created to live in mediocrity. You were not designed to play small. God has placed gifts inside you, talents that the world needs. But if you keep holding back, if you keep playing it safe, you are not just robbing yourself, you are robbing the world of what you were meant to give. Think about it. How many people are waiting for you to step into your calling? How many lives could be changed because of your obedience? Maybe it's the book you were meant to write, the business you were meant to start, the message you were meant to share. Maybe it's the people you were meant to inspire, the community you were meant to uplift, the lives you were meant to touch. But if you keep drifting, if you keep waiting for the right time, you may never realize the impact you were born to make. There was once a man who spent years searching for his purpose. He tried different jobs, different careers, different paths, but nothing ever felt right. He always felt like something was missing. One day he sat down with an older mentor, someone he admired, and asked, "How do I find my purpose?" The mentor smiled and said, "Purpose isn't found, it's followed. God has already placed it inside you, but it's up to you to listen, to trust, and to move." That moment changed everything for him. He realized that purpose wasn't something he needed to chase. It was something he needed to obey. Maybe that's you. Maybe you've been waiting for some grand sign, for some miraculous revelation to tell you exactly what to do. But God has already given you clues. He has already placed desires in your heart, passions in your soul, ideas in your mind. The question is, will you trust Him enough to take action? Will you have the faith to step into the unknown, even when you don't have all the answers? Because that's where most people get stuck. They want certainty. They want guarantees. But purpose requires faith. Purpose requires you to move even when the path isn't clear. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Because when you take that first step, God meets you there. He opens doors you never expected. He brings the right people into your life. He equips you with everything you need, but you have to move first. You have to trust that if He called you, He will guide you. Some of you have been drifting for too long. You've been sitting on your dreams, waiting for the perfect moment, letting fear talk you out of your destiny. But it's time to stop drifting. It's time to stop letting life just happen to you. It's time to take control, to surrender your plans to God, and to step boldly into the life He created you for. Because here's the truth. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment when everything is easy, when every fear disappears, when every question is answered. But the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. The longer you hesitate, the more opportunities you let slip away. Your purpose is waiting. Your destiny is calling. But only you can make the decision to step into it. Stop wasting time. Stop making excuses. Stop letting fear win. This is your moment right here, right now. Choose to live the life God created you for. Because the world needs what you have to give. And time is too precious to waste another second drifting. Fear is a liar. It whispers in your ear telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not ready, that you'll fail if you try. It keeps you stuck, paralyzed by doubt, watching opportunities slip through your fingers while you wait for the perfect moment. But here's the truth. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. And the only way to move forward is to step out in faith, to trust that if God put a dream in your heart, He also gave you the ability to achieve it. Faith is not just believing in God, it's believing that He is guiding your steps even when you don't understand the path. It's knowing that He is working behind the scenes even when everything around you seems uncertain. Faith means moving even when you're scared, even when the road ahead looks impossible, even when the odds are against you, because faith is not about seeing, it's about trusting. Think about the stories of those who changed the world. They didn't wait for everything to be perfect. They didn't sit back and hope for a sign. They stepped forward, even when they had every reason to be afraid. Moses didn't feel qualified. David didn't look like a warrior. Peter didn't feel worthy. But when God called them, they moved. And because they moved, miracles happened. How many times have you let fear stop you? How many dreams have you buried because the fear of failure was louder than your faith? How many times have you told yourself, I'll do it later, when deep down you knew that later would never come? Fear will always be there. It will always try to convince you that it's safer to stay where you are. But nothing great happens in comfort zones. Growth happens in the unknown. Miracles happen when you take the first step, even when you don't know what's next. There was once a man who stood at the edge of a cliff, looking down at the valley below. He knew he had to jump. He knew his destiny was waiting on the other side, but fear gripped him. What if I fall, he thought. What if I'm not strong enough? He hesitated, and the longer he stood there, the more reasons his mind found to stay put. But then a voice inside him whispered, trust. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and leaped. And as he fell, something incredible happened. He realized he could fly. That's what faith feels like. It feels like stepping off a cliff, not knowing if you'll fall or soar. But God never lets you fall. When you trust him, he lifts you higher than you ever imagined. He takes you places you never thought you could go. He opens doors you never even knew existed, but you'll never experience it if you let fear hold you back. The enemy wants you to be afraid. He wants you to doubt yourself, to second guess your calling, to stay small when God is calling you to something big. But fear is nothing more than a distraction. It's an illusion designed to keep you from stepping into your purpose. Because the moment you choose faith over fear, everything changes. Imagine what your life would look like if you refused to let fear control you. Imagine the risks you would take, the opportunities you would seize, the mountains you would move. You were not created to live a life of hesitation. You are not meant to shrink back when things get hard. You were made to walk boldly, to trust fiercely, to live with confidence that God is leading you exactly where you need to go. Fear says, what if I fail? Faith says, what if I succeed? Fear says, I'm not ready. Faith says, God will prepare me. Fear says, I don't know the way. Faith says, God is making a way. You have two choices in life. You can either let fear dictate your future, or you can step out in faith and trust that God has a plan bigger than your fears. The choice is yours. But know this, God never calls you to something without equipping you for it. If he placed that dream inside you, it's because you are capable. If he gave you that vision, it's because he has already paved the way, but it's up to you to take the first step. Faith is not waiting for all the answers. Faith is taking the step even when you don't see the whole path. Faith is knowing that God's promises are bigger than your fears, that his plans are greater than your doubts, that his strength is more powerful than your weaknesses. So today, make the decision to trust. Trust that God is working even when you can't see it. Trust that he has a purpose for your life. Even when you don't understand it, trust that he will catch you even when you feel like you're falling. Because when you walk by faith, fear has no power over you. Move forward, step boldly, choose faith, because the life you were meant to live is waiting on the other side of your fear. You weren't put on this earth just to exist. You weren't created to simply go through the motions, to work, to pay bills, to build a life that vanishes the moment you take your last breath. You were made to make an impact. You were designed to leave a mark so deep that generations after you will feel the ripple effect of your life. And not just any legacy, a legacy that honors God, a legacy that echoes in eternity, a legacy that proves you live for something greater than yourself. But too many people waste their lives chasing things that don't matter. They chase money, power, approval, and status, thinking these things will give them meaning. But when it's all said and done, none of that lasts. None of that carries weight beyond this world. The only thing that lasts is the impact you make, the lives you touch, the hearts you change, the way you reflect God's light in everything you do. Think about the people who came before you, the ones who shaped your life, the ones who inspired you, the ones who made you believe in something greater. They didn't do it by playing small. They didn't do it by sitting back and waiting for life to happen. They made a choice to live with purpose, to serve with passion, to love with everything they had. And because of that, they left behind something bigger than themselves. What will your legacy be? When people speak your name years from now, what will they say? Will they say you were someone who played it safe, who kept to themselves, who never stepped out in faith? Or will they say you were a person who gave everything, who lived fully, who made the world better because you were in it? The truth is, every day you are writing your legacy. Every decision you make, every action you take, every word you speak, it all adds up to the story you will leave behind. And the question is, are you writing a story worth remembering? There was once a man who worked hard his entire life. He built a successful business, made a name for himself, accumulated wealth and possessions. But when he was on his deathbed, he realized something. None of it mattered. The money, the awards, the material things, they couldn't bring him peace. What mattered were the moments he spent loving his family. What mattered were the times he helped others, the times he spoke life into someone who was struggling, the times he put God first instead of his own ambitions. He realized too late that the only thing that truly mattered was the impact he made on the people around him. Don't wait until it's too late to understand that. Don't get to the end of your life and realize you spent it chasing the wrong things. Start now. Start today. Make a decision that from this moment forward, you will live with purpose, you will serve with love, you will use every gift God has given you to glorify Him. Maybe you think you don't have what it takes. Maybe you think you're too young, too old, too inexperienced, too broken. But God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. If He has put a dream in your heart, if He has given you a passion, then He has also given you everything you need to make an impact. The only thing standing in your way is fear. Fear will tell you that your voice doesn't matter, that your actions won't make a difference, that you're not capable of doing great things. But fear is a liar. The enemy wants you to believe that you are powerless, because he knows that the moment you step into your God-given purpose, you become unstoppable. Your impact doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be seen by millions. It just has to be real. It has to be intentional. The way you love your family, that's impact. The way you treat strangers, that's impact. The way you use your talents to serve others, that's impact. You don't have to be famous to change the world. You just have to be faithful. God has given you something that no one else has. Your story, your experiences, your unique perspective. Use it. Speak life into people. Lift others up. Be a light in a world that is filled with darkness. Because you never know whose life you will touch. You never know who is watching, who is listening, who is waiting for someone like you to remind them that they are loved, that they are seen, that they have a purpose too. One day your time here will be over. And when that day comes, will you be able to say that you gave it everything? That you loved with all your heart, that you left behind something that will outlive you? Or will you look back with regret, knowing you could have done more, knowing you could have lived bigger, knowing you could have trusted God more? Don't waste another second playing small. Step into your purpose, use your gifts, love people fiercely, and most of all, live in a way that honors the one who created you. Because when you live for Him, your legacy is not just something that lasts for years. It's something that lasts for eternity. Life is not measured by the years you live, but by the impact you make. You have one life, one chance to leave something behind that echoes long after you're gone. And the choice is yours. Will you settle for a life of mediocrity, of playing it safe, of blending into the background? Or will you rise, step into your purpose, and make every moment count? The world does not remember those who played it safe. The world remembers those who dared to live, who stood for something, who fought for a cause greater than themselves. It remembers the ones who refused to let fear dictate their destiny, who refused to let doubt silence their voice. The world remembers those who were bold enough to believe in something bigger. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. These words have echoed through generations, and they remain true today. If you want to see kindness, be kind. If you want to see love, be love. If you want to see faith, live with faith. The world needs more people who refuse to follow the crowd, who refuse to conform, who stand firm in their beliefs and let their actions speak louder than their words. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Your purpose is unique. Your calling is yours alone. No one else can walk your path. No one else can fulfill your destiny. But that means you must have the courage to take the first step, even when you don't know where it will lead. You must be willing to risk failure, to face rejection, to embrace the unknown, because that is where greatness is born. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena. Theodore Roosevelt's words ring as true today as they did a century ago. The critics will always be there, the doubters, the naysayers, the ones who tell you that you're dreaming too big, that you should be more realistic. Ignore them. They are not in the arena. They are not fighting the battles you are called to fight. Let them talk while you take action. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. There will be obstacles. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you question everything. But your impact is not defined by how many times you fall. It is defined by how many times you rise. The greatest stories are not those of people who never struggled, but of those who refused to give up, no matter how hard it got. Some people want it to happen. Some wish it would happen. Others make it happen. Which one will you be? Will you be the one who sits on the sidelines watching as life passes you by? Or will you be the one who takes control, who pushes forward, who refuses to let excuses win? The choice is yours. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Steve Jobs spoke these words as a reminder that we are not here forever. The clock is ticking. You don't have time to live for other people's expectations. You don't have time to let fear steal your dreams. You don't have time to wait for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment is now. So what will you do with this one life you have been given? Will you waste it? Or will you make it count? Will you leave behind a legacy of fear or a legacy of faith? Will you let the world shape you, or will you rise and shape the world? The choice is in your hands. Stand tall, move forward, live boldly, make an impact, and above all, honor the one who gave you this life by using it well, because at the end of the day, the greatest tragedy is not death, is a life that was never truly lived. Steal your dreams. You don't have time to wait for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment is now. So what will you do with this one life you have been given? Will you waste it, or will you make it count? Will you leave behind a legacy of fear or a legacy of faith? Will you let the world shape you, or will you rise and shape the world? The choice is in your hands. Stand tall, move forward, live boldly, make an impact, and above all, honor the one who gave you this life by using it well. Because at the end of the day, the greatest tragedy is not death, it's a life that was never truly lived.